Welcome back to the Ed Show. We've been talking throughout the show tonight about the fallout from killing Osama bin Laden, what it really means. The fallout, it just keeps coming. CBS reporting tonight that there are more leads that are coming out by the hour. Let's bring in Washington Post columnist and senior fellow at the Brookings Institution, E.J. Dionne, and also the host of the Ring of Fire radio show, Mike Papantonio. Gentlemen, good to have you with us tonight. Let's talk about Osama bin Laden and the raid and the legal wrangling that is going on by some liberals in this country and how they're struggling with it. The killing of Osama bin Laden, there's some liberal hand-wringing, as I said, but Mike, you're an attorney. Were we on legal, solid ground to do this the way we did it?
What the president pulled off was clearly legal. It was an act of national self-defense. Bin Laden was no different than any other enemy commander in the field. He was an indicted international criminal, for God's sakes. Look, all the way back to Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton had a standing order to kill or capture bin Laden. These people that are wringing their hands and so upset, if they had a problem, they had a problem 14 years ago. They should have said something 14 years ago rather than bringing it up now.
EJ, EJ, what did you think of the White House reaction today? Say that they were not going to apologize for their actions. Obviously, they're hearing the chatter.
Well, I don't blame them for that. I mean, first, let me say I'm proud I live in a country where some lefties and some libertarians can raise questions about one of the most popular military actions in our country's history. Thank God we're a free country. But I disagree with them. I'm against the death penalty, but I believe in just war. And this was an act of war. The SEALs were not expected to go in there and read Osama bin Laden his Miranda rights. And it's absolutely true. We have been trying to get bin Laden all the way back to Bill Clinton. So they've got every right to speak up, but I just think they're wrong.
The releasing of the photos. President Obama first said he was not going to release the photos because it seemed well-reasoned not to. Now there's a select few that will see it. Mike, how's this going to play out?
Well, I think if anybody should see it, it should be the victims of 9/11. It does bring, look, that picture of a cold-blooded, fanatic, psychopath killer does memorialize an end to an era where we had leadership in this country that didn't have the ability to do what our president just did. 7 years they couldn't do it. It was a low point for America. We all felt like we were impotent, like we were weak, and what this does, it memorializes the fact that that did turn around. And at the very least, we ought to have the survivors of 9/11 have the chance to see that photograph if they want to see it.
And E.J. Dionne, when it comes to national security, the Republicans always play that card come election time. In fact, Dick Cheney said back in 2004 that if we didn't reelect them, we would get hit again. How does the political dynamic play out for the Democrats on this, having taken out bin Laden on a Democrat's watch?
You know, I think this really is huge. It doesn't mean Obama has guaranteed his reelection. The economy is still probably going to matter most. But it really changes the way, first, Obama is looked at. A friend of mine who's a Democrat today said he was on the verge of being Carterized. No one now can compare him to President Carter. I say that with respect to Carter, but no one can call him weak or indecisive. He did this thing. And this is so powerful. Symbolically, I think people saw a side of President Obama they didn't expect to see. So this really, I think, means Americans will never quite look at President Obama the same way again, and that has a political effect.
And E.J., I'll ask you again, why in the world would the Republicans refuse to hold a vote honoring the SEALs and the intelligence community when they've already broken their rules on a number of issues?
You know, I think they made a mistake on that. They have expressed this desire not to clog the Congress with all kinds of congratulatory resolutions. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of junky stuff that comes up. But on this one, I just wish they would say they've done things that look an awful lot like this. They ought to just go ahead and do it.
What about that, Mike? President Obama might get some credit. They can't let that happen, right?
Well, Republicans are suffering today. They have been the party that told us that they were capable of good national security, even though they were responsible for 9/11. That was their watch. Even though they're the people who failed to read that August 13th memo that said bin Laden was going to attack the United States. So they've always been able to tell this lie to the American public that they're the party that can best protect this country. So right now they're suffering. They're having to live through the obvious, and that is they really weren't that party that could keep this country safe. They were the party that couldn't catch bin Laden for 7 years.
So, Mike,
so this is a very troubling problem.
So, Mike, do you think that their credibility on national security has been damaged? And, of course, what they're trying to do, hold up the Deputy Attorney General's confirmation.
I think it's as damaged on national security as it has been on the economy. Look, they're out of place here, Ed. They tell us they're the fiscal conservative party that could solve our economic problems. They brought us into an economic abyss. Now we find out that they're really not even the party that can keep us safe from a national security standpoint. They have big political problems right now, so they're whining. It's what Republicans do best when they're in trouble. They whine like colicky babies. They're trying to figure out how do they get out all this and save some face.
Gentlemen, I have to tell you, I am struggling with lawmakers getting a chance to see these photos, and yet the families are not going to have that opportunity, at least not now. EJ, is it important for lawmakers such as Joe Lieberman to have a chance at seeing these before anyone who was really affected by 9/11?
You know, I didn't feel passionately one way or the other on this issue, to be honest. My sense is the administration made the right call, that we don't want to look like we're dancing on someone's grave. This was a grave act. We carried it out. It was justified. We didn't need to brag about it to the world. And I think Congress does need access to it. It's part of keeping Congress informed about intelligence operations. But, yeah, I think we should also let the people who lost folks at 9/11 see him too, and I bet they can do that.
And quickly, Mike, Omar bin Laden says that they may take legal action internationally based on the U.S. action. What do you make of that?
Yeah, well, good luck with that. I got to tell you something. That is a stretch of the imagination.
All right. E.J. Dionne, Mike Papantonio, great to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much. Tonight in